Okay, so welcome to day number 2 of our Google Apps overview. This is Tuesday, May 6th, 2014, and how's the weather outside here in Las Vegas?
Windy.
Windy but nice. How's the weather in California?
It's nice and cool.
Nice and cool.
Cool. Okay.
That's what it is here.
How about for you, Stephanie, Long Beach?
Even cooler.
She probably has a nice breeze down there.
It's kind of cold.
Kind of cold. Okay, good. Now I think is it supposed to be in the 90s here today?
No, 70 is the high.
Oh, it's supposed to be 71 or 80s. Okay, so it's going to be warm but cool. Windy, probably. Okay, so our purpose for this week is to really get a good handle on Google Apps in its entirety, as opposed to every other week we focus on an app. So the important thing for this week is to make sure we don't lose sight of the forest for each tree. We want to be able to see all of the Google Apps. And specifically, what we want to do is make sure that when we are in an interview and we're trying to talk about why we have value because we know the cloud and we can bring them to the cloud, that if they ask a question like, well, what do you mean? What is the cloud? Here's what my company does, that you all of a sudden don't crumble and start having sweat break out on the top of your forehead and start having a little quiver in your voice. Okay? And so the better you know the apps, the more confident and competent you will be, and thus the more persuasive you'll be. And if you're persuasive in getting them to believe you are the best person for the job, what results? You get the job, unless you're somebody who's a lot better. But then they're going to say, you know, you're number 2, we really like you, but, and then that's your opportunity to say, but I really, really want this job, and stamp your feet, and tell them about why you care more about it and you're going to do more for the company. And if that doesn't work, then you want to make sure that you are the next person they hire, because you're not going to give up. Okay, so once again, let's list the Google Apps, and then I want you to make sure you have your composition books out, because I want to give you a graphic way to envision and see it to help you learn and help you remember them, and also help you have a way to discuss them. Okay, so what did yesterday's video say? It starts with this, or it centers around this. What did he say? Gmail, right? Okay. California, what's another one? What?
What's another app, guys?
Oh, Chrome.
Chrome. Okay, what else in California?
Tube, Drive, Maps.
Maps. Okay, what else?
Voice.
Voice. Okay, what else?
Calendar.
YouTube. Calendar. Drive.
Google Plus.
Okay. Google Plus, is that 8?
Yes.
Okay, good. Those are the 8 apps that we do. Now, in Google Plus, what are some of the sub-apps? Hangouts, communities, events, circles. Okay, we got those. Okay, now in Drive, what are some of the sub-apps? Forms,
Presentation.
and presentations, right?
All right.
Okay. Now, we haven't done voice in the last 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Can anybody tell me what the 2 subsets are in voice?
Texting.
Well, that's Hangouts, but yeah, you can do it through there. That's kind of a... What are the 2 basic things you can do in voice? Who remembers?
Leave messages for special people.
Okay, so one is your custom greeting.
Custom greeting.
And what is the other thing? Personal number. Okay, you get your own number in Google Voice. That is free.
You can text off of that.
You can, but we're having that as the Hangout. Okay? So let's see. Now these other ones, are there any other subsets? No, let's just leave it at that. Okay, so those are the apps, and those are some of the sub-apps that go off the apps. Now what I want you to do is kind of draw an oval. That wasn't really very good. But the first group is things that you do to communicate information with other people. So of these apps, and let's not focus on the sub-apps, but of the apps, which ones do we use to really communicate with other people? Gmail.
Maps. Google Calendar.
No.
No. YouTube.
YouTube.
Voice.
Google Plus.
Okay. Okay. So this group we use really to communicate with other people. So how do we do it in Gmail?
Email.
Right. We send emails. We send and receive emails with other people. How do we do it in YouTube?
Videos.
Send and receive
Create a
videos.
playlist.
Now in Google Plus, how do we do it?
Hangouts.
Through Hangouts, Circles, Communities. Okay.
Writing a post.
Now the next level is tools. Okay. Where the first ones are really how do we communicate. The next one is productivity tools. So of this list, so we're going to take out Maps, YouTube, Google+. Now, which of these are tools to help us make our life better?
Calendar.
Calendar.
Right? Maps, calendar, what else?
Chrome. Drive.
Okay.
Not Chrome.
Well, Chrome certainly is that, because in Chrome, that's really how we get to search.
Right.
Okay?
And this group, that's what makes our life easier.
Yeah, these are productivity tools to make our life easier. In other words, Gmail doesn't do a lot if you don't send or receive emails, right? If you don't have somebody else involved in that chain, how valuable is Gmail? If you don't have anybody to send an email to, what is the value of Gmail? Okay. If you don't have people to send, to put in a Hangout or a community or a circle or to post things, what's the value of Google+? Same thing, right?
Not connected to anybody.
Well, I'm saying if you don't have, other people aren't involved. It's not really a good research tool. You can do some research, but it's not really a good research tool. It's a communication tool. Okay? And in YouTube is a good research tool. But for our purposes, that's what everybody uses it for, right? It's right now researching entertainment. What else do we use YouTube for? No, what else does everyone outside of here?
Oh, entertainment.
Entertainment and research, right? Research, learning how to do things. Okay, here at Larson, what do we mainly use YouTube for? Is Fernando there?
No, he's not.
Okay, Victoria, can you know what we primarily use YouTube for here at the school?
Training purposes.
What?
Training purposes.
Yeah, we use it for training purposes. So we research a topic and then we learn. We use YouTube to learn. Okay, now here at Larson, yeah, we want to now use YouTube as a fundamental part of our employment planning. And then what else? Once we have the job, do we want to use YouTube for? To make videos for what reason? Well, that's just part of getting the employment, but once we're there, it's a sales tool, right? Or a business tool. It's a tool to make money, to help that employer make more money or save more money. Okay, that's how we use YouTube here, and that's why I include it in this group. It could be in this group because it is a productivity tool. Most people use YouTube to become more productive, right? Or to be happier. You know, they have their headphones on, right, and you're just listening or watching videos. Okay, that's what most people do, and that's fair enough. But for our purposes, we're putting YouTube in this circle because it's a way for us to get information to other people. And at the end of the day, you know, it's not so much what you know, it's what you can communicate. You could be the smartest guy in the world, but if you're in a cave in Pakistan, how valuable, and you're not communicating with anyone, how much value is that?
Zero.
Right. Okay. If we think about Marcus Aurelius, what did the professor say he would have liked to spend his days doing? Reading his philosophy books, right? Would he have had the same value if that's all he did, was read philosophy and didn't communicate? No, it wouldn't be. So, you know, the most important thing is what you can communicate. And that's why Gmail, YouTube, and Google Plus are at the center. And now, so as an example of that, yesterday Rob and I were looking at some statistics, and surprisingly, it shouldn't be surprising, but surprisingly, and if everybody can go to Google Plus and go to me, so how would you get to me? My profile.
Hang out.
Go to people. That's right. Go to people. Click on me. And how many views do I have on my profile? So I'll do it over here. Huh? Okay, 295,000. What? 295. 295,328. Now, Angel views. Angel, when we talked about it last time, how many did I have last week? Do you remember? Wasn't that you and I were doing it? Was it 270 or something? It was more than 250. So the key isn't what you know, it's what you can communicate. Rob and I figured out yesterday, the reason I have so many views is because all of the videos that we post, and that is YouTube, but the way we distribute or disseminate that message is how. How do people know we're posting videos? By the Hangouts, by Google Plus. So that means we shouldn't just do YouTube videos, right? If we really want to get the most bang for buck, we should incorporate it with Google Plus, okay, of the apps that we use. Now, does anybody get emails here of the events? You get an email every day that says there's an event? Okay. So when I create the event, and what app do I use to create the event? California, what app do I use to create the event? Dennis, what app do I use to create the event?
Calendar?
No, not Calendar. Google Plus. I create the event in Google Plus in the section called Events. So I created in that, I add a YouTube video, right?
Yeah.
I post a little message in it. I invite people that are in my circles. So you're in a circle, California's in an LTC student circle, people here are in LTC LV circle. I invite the people in the circles, and then what Google does is it sends all of you an email.
Oh, I see. I'm missing.
Right? Now, what can you do when you get the email? What do you have to do to get to the event?
You and your share.
Is there a link in there?
So you're doing it.
Okay, so there's an active link. So all people have to do is click on the link. So I create the event in Google Plus. I create the event here. I incorporate a YouTube video, and it automatically sends it out as a Gmail. So if you're talking about at work, you know, the employer is going to care about what are the two things employers care about? Making money and saving money. So productivity tools really go more towards saving money, right? People are going to be more productive. They're going to get more work done in the amount of time. Making money is selling things. So when you're talking in your interview, you know, the primary apps that you want to talk about are the apps that communicate. It's not really sexy or exciting to talk about Gmail because everybody thinks they already know about email, right?
Yeah.
If you go into an interview and you say, I really know the cloud, and he says, well, what do you know? And you say email, is he going to get excited? No. It's like, well, I already know that.
Did you reverse what you said about the Google Plus, the YouTube, to create a Gmail with an event?
Right. So you'd want to talk about these three things first, and it's not Gmail, so which one would you want to talk about first
Google
Drive.
Plus.
The Drive.
of these three?
Oh, those three.
Google Plus.
Google Plus.
Why Google Plus?
Because that's where you post your events.
Okay, now what's the problem with talking about Google Plus?
Everyone
Carla.
knows about
Need
it.
an email account.
No. If you hit lead off with Google Plus.
Everybody knows about it.
No.
You need a Google account.
No.
Ask the question again.
Okay. What is the problem if you're in there talking to you're in your interview and you say one of the reasons you should hire me is I know the cloud, and the guy says, well, what do you know? And you say Google Plus. Why is that not necessarily the right answer?
That's a social
What did you
site.
create?
Okay, it's a social site that competes with what?
Everything else.
Facebook.
Every other social.
So if the guy likes Facebook and you talk about Google Plus, that's like in the old days or even now today, are you a PC person or a Mac? Okay, people get locked in, and so if this is a Facebook guy or woman, and you say Google Plus, they might say, wrong, I like Facebook, okay? So,
You can do both, though.
well, no, I'm saying the first thing.
Correct.
Okay, you can't say both is the first thing.
Right.
Okay.
So what
Okay.
is the right answer?
Well, so we wiped out Gmail and we wiped out Google Plus. What's left?
YouTube.
Right. Now, what's the problem with mentioning YouTube?
Everybody
Everybody does YouTube, so its first response is going to be, it's going to be, huh?
They don't know what you can entertain.
Right. So you have to immediately follow up with why YouTube, because everybody knows YouTube, but they're probably not using YouTube
For training.
to help them make money or save money. Now, how are you going to know that before you get in your interview?
Because you
Do the research.
You've done your research, so you know they don't have YouTube videos.
Right. You
Okay.
say, I see your competitor.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I know YouTube and I can.
Right, I can take YouTube to the next level.
Yeah.
Now, that's a reason why it would be important for you to have your own playlists and your own uploaded videos. And if you can walk in and say, who am I? I'm not really anybody special, but I have 200,000 views on my YouTube profile or on my Google Plus profile. How many do I bet I have more YouTube? I bet I have more views than anybody else interviewing for this job. Why? Because I know how to use YouTube to be productive or to do whatever. Okay? Yes, Mary.
So we can get to the point that if he finds the time, he just has like Facebook.
That's what you want.
Conversation.
You want to be with those people because you need to just get them to understand they have a need. Okay, one of the first principles in selling is you have to have a need to fill. Okay, now if you go to Zappos and you say, I can help you go to the cloud, what are they going to say? They're going to say, huh? Do you know where you are?
Yeah.
Okay, now if you say, you should hire me because I really already know the cloud, that might be helpful. Because they might not want to spend a lot of time and energy training people how to know the cloud. So if it's between you and somebody else and you're equal, everything else is equal, who are they going to want to take?
Person who knows the cloud.
Person who knows the cloud more. Less training, and maybe you know something they don't know. And then you can start talking about YouTube videos. Okay? Because we are conditioned as people. Now, we spend a lot more time watching TV than we do reading. Okay, well, most of us do. Almost everyone. Huh? Okay, that's not reading. That's listening. That's like listening to Pandorica. Who knows what the Pandorica was? Pandorica? Anybody in California, if I say Pandorica, does that mean anything? Pandorica.
I know Pandora. It's music.
I know what Pandora is.
Okay, so let me do a Google search. Pandorica.
All right. Florida's already on.
California, Pandorica. Pandorica.
With the C.
D-O-R-I-C-A.
Prison hidden under stone.
Okay, sort of. Getting close.
Prison hidden under stone.
Twitter.
Who? What is according to what?
Go to the doctor. Oh, the doctor and insurance.
Doctor Who?
There is two.
Does anybody here watch Doctor Who?
I used to.
Okay, Doctor Who, Pandorica. Yeah.
There's images of
Oh, the Pandora show was a prison hidden under stone.
Right. Okay, well, the key thing is Doctor Who. No, it's true. Didn't you know that Doctor Who is a true story? Yeah, 25th anniversary. Okay, so here's the key. The most important first app to talk about in your interview is YouTube. But then you have to explain to them the value of YouTube that they are not capitalizing on. Because if you say YouTube, they're going to think it's either entertainment or research. Okay? Not how to get more customers, keep more customers, train employees, having better employees. They're not going to get that.
When we say YouTube, we should say we will create.
Well, you start with YouTube and you wait for the reaction. Okay? Because they might, there's a small chance they're hoping you're going to say that. Because they might be real YouTube power people. On the other hand, their eyes might glaze over because they don't know what you're talking about. And so based upon their reaction, then you figure out which path you want to go down. So, we need to spend more time on YouTube in California. Maybe we can do this in California. We might be able to do this. We're going to do it here. Is have everybody break up into teams and make a little 2-minute YouTube video on something. Well, we'll talk about it at 2. Okay. At 1 o'clock, we'll talk about the other thing. What's the other thing? Right, project. Okay. So we will. So it's very important to get comfortable with YouTube. Okay. People spend more time watching things than they do reading today. There's a lot more information conveyed when you're watching something than when you're reading something. It's a lot easier to get into the zone when you're watching something because that's what we practice doing when we go home and watch TV. We just leave reality, we get a mind meld with the television set. We lose all sense of place and time watching TV. Now, people can do that when they read, but you have to focus more when you read, and people generally can't read for long periods of time. Most people can't these days, especially younger people. Okay, so Gmail, YouTube, Google Plus, and what we already know is if you use one of these things, it will connect into the others. So like if you share a playlist, what happens? If I share a playlist, yeah, so when I shared my playlists last week, you got notified. And then you can also check a little box if you subscribe, right? So there's two levels in YouTube. You can share a playlist and people can subscribe to your channel. So anytime you do an update, they will get notification. These are all things that businesses should do. So every business, even if it's just a little landscaping company or a handyman company, should be doing videos. Okay, before and after. Let's say you have a little tree trimming business. Have a picture of the house and the trees before you do the work, and then do one after you did the work.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you create a little video portfolio for people. Yes, Mary.
So are these things like calendar? Were they all created at different times or all at once?
Google created these things at different times, but some of them they were creating at the same time.
So you never know when they're going to add like something else. Like when will that come out? Is
Okay.
It ongoing or?
So Google started as what?
Email.
No.
No.
Search engine
Search. Google started as search. And the guys who started it actually wanted to license the search algorithm. But they decided they'd start a company because they couldn't get what they wanted or something. I don't remember the story. But they started as search. Then they wanted to be competitive, and they got into what?
Email.
Email. They did email second. And then at some point along, because what did Microsoft have at that time? What was popular?
Was it Outlook?
No, what was the Microsoft's email?
Something.
Hotmail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hotmail. Microsoft had bought Hotmail. And what did Yahoo have?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yahoo's email. And AOL had their email. So Google got into email next because everybody had email, and at that point everybody knew they needed email. All people at that point decided, I got to have an email. And because Google was very popular, was the most popular search, a lot of people decided, well, if it's the most popular search, it probably is good for me to have my email associated with the most popular search engine. Okay? Because it'll just be better. And then at some point, they decided to switch from the direction Microsoft was going, and AOL was going, and Yahoo was going, and create a suite of apps to make people's lives faster, easier, and better. And so at some point, they did all of these. Now, each of them have their own team. There are guys that just work on Map and Calendar and Drive, and so they have their own time schedules about when they're going to release stuff.
I could add more stuff too.
They're always adding more, and if you go into settings under labs, in the settings in the gear, the settings gear, there's generally in Gmail for sure, I think Calendar for sure, there's a setting called labs, which are new little sub-applications that or widgets that they want to add. Yeah.
Who's doing the glass?
Google.
Google is? Because it's obvious they took a team and they stole from everybody else's ideas, maps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they're, doing a better job. They're improving everything. But so what's new? Glass.
Glass is new. Glass is new right now. Huh?
Glass.
That's the glasses.
Oh, the glass? Oh, yeah.
Okay. That connect in. I think some people can buy them, but it connects in. Okay, and they connect in with other apps. It's not just a camera.
Right. Wasn't it? Didn't you mention that it was like originally maybe for maps, for inside views and stuff like that? Isn't that what originally the idea? Did you say that? Or
no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. My thinking is that they watched the movie Terminator, and they wanted to have it so you could see. Oh, Marion. Here's the history of Marion. What do I want to know about Marion?
Mhm.
You look at somebody, you know who they are. It does a Google search based upon facial recognition. And
Oh, that's very.
in the future, now everybody that you meet, you will never forget a face because you don't have to remember a face. Okay, that's what I think they did. Yeah.
The glasses, is it going to be like 3D? Are they going to try to create some 3D on them?
Well, you don't need 3D. You already see in 3D, right?
Doesn't Google have the self-driven cars to
Yeah.
do the Google Maps?
Right?
Yeah, they're doing that right now.
Yeah.
Which is futuristic stuff. You won't have to really drive.
Right. That's why, those are some of the reasons why we choose Google Apps, because we have confidence that Google is going to be a good bet to bring into businesses. And so, like a couple weeks ago when we were watching, we're doing maps, right? And what did we learn? What was the new thing we learned in Google Maps?
Go inside.
Inside view, right? Well, just imagine in the future when you have these remote cars and you want to get to, some pizza parlor, say. I could foresee that your map is going to be, you can watch a high-speed video of how you get there.
Wow.
Okay? So you're going to know, yeah, I'm on the right street. So when you go like to England and they give you directions, how do you get to this place? We'll drive about 10 minutes, you'll see a big rock, forget about that rock, then the next big rock you'll see, after you get to that big rock, then there's going to be a road and you take that road to the right. And that will really work with that kind of a mapping thing that's done where they have these cars just driving around digitizing everything.
Yeah.
Okay?
You can call
Yes,
them
Mary.
do the insights.
So right now, like with, because Google Apps makes, everything faster, easier, and better. Do they have any competition?
Yeah. There's competition for each of these apps.
I mean, say like,
Well, Microsoft is doing their thing. It's a little bit different because they have invested billions in something called Microsoft Office, right? And one of the applications in Office is Outlook. And millions of people use Outlook. They don't want to say to those people, Outlook is obsolete, change. So the challenge they have is, how do we bring Outlook to the cloud? And they do it through 365.
But there's so many other little companies that are creating all these different apps, and the awesome thing with Google's that everything's integrated.
Well,
So you
the
don't
Google,
have to
well,
have
okay.
customers for all these other little apps. That's
Well, okay, so that's a good point because the Google apps are integrated, but what else do you have access to with Google?
Drive.
The outside apps as well.
The Chrome store, right?
Yeah.
All of those other apps that those people design them to work inside of Google.
Mhm.
And they do to a greater or less extent. Okay, not as well as Google because, Google people have access to more things or they've worked on other projects at Google. And so when they create an app, when Google creates an app, it's absolutely going to work in Google. If somebody else creates an app, it may or may not work as well as a Google app. Okay? Now, another important thing is, once you get the basics of the cloud, and then somebody talks about some other app that's not on the cloud, you should feel very comfortable and confident that you can learn that app. Because if you learn all of these, and somebody says, well, we use Skype. Okay, great, you use Skype, that's fantastic. But you don't know how to use Skype. You're going to feel you can learn Skype. There's something that Microsoft has called OneNote. Okay? And OneNote does a lot of things that these apps do. Green Our Planet uses OneNote. And they like OneNote. I don't know how to use OneNote, but when they said, can you have your students learn OneNote, I was very confident and comfortable saying, yeah, we can have them learn OneNote. Just show us what we need. Yeah.
if you want to be up on the technology, so if you want to go to a website and say, this all like list OneNote, so what you should be knowledgeable about. Is it like a website you can go to that shows you, that shows like what you should know about.
Well, I think you can do a Google search of most popular apps. So the question was, I think paraphrasing, I think the question was, is there a place I can go to find out what are the apps that you should know?
Right, yeah.
Okay. And you can do a Google search of what are the most popular apps.
There's so many because they make them for the iPhone, they make them for the Android, and this and that, and they're constantly being made.
Yeah, there's hundreds or thousands.
Apps, and you can get like an up-to-date or
What are your needs?
well, that's what I'm talking about. Well,
Okay.
you should know Skype, but you should know.
No, I'm saying no. I didn't say you should know Skype.
Why?
I said if they use Skype,
Yeah, you should know
if you know how to do
You don't
these.
need Skype.
No. Well, that's true, you don't. But if the company you're interviewing with says, we use Skype,
I should already know that.
you should know that because you did your research. But you should feel confident, no problem, I can learn Skype.
Learn it, yeah.
I don't have a problem learning Skype because I know how to use the cloud. I know the fundamentals, I know the basics of the cloud. And so when you say Skype, I don't get confused of, well, what exactly does that mean? Okay? So you don't need anything, nobody needs anything in the Google Apps. Now we only focus on 8, right? But yesterday, how many did we approximate that there were when we went to the page? Well, no, on the more and then even more. It might have been like 50. Okay? If you then include going to the Chrome store and looking at apps, yeah, there's thousands, hundreds or thousands of them. If you then go and say for Android, how many Android apps are there? There are thousands of those. And then iPhone apps. The key thing is to feel confident and comfortable that you can become competent in it. Once you know the you become competent.
You know what it's relative to? Remember back in the days, computers, DOS. You had to know your F keys and all of that.
Right, you had to know DOS.
When Windows came out, it made everything easier. You didn't have to, if you already know DOS and all the F keys, all you had to do was search for, I want to cut and paste.
Yeah.
Go.
So, right.
It makes it easier.
So, yeah, if you know the fundamentals, it gets easier. And you talk about the cloud, you're going to be perceived as a better person. So we've got 4 minutes. In California, how can we, what can we talk about to help you there? Does everybody feel confident about what is the cloud? Why is the cloud? What are the apps we use? How we distinguish between the apps that have to do with communicating and the apps that are productivity tools. So you could say these are communication tools and these are productivity tools.
Any questions, guys? They're okay.
Okay, so for 2 minutes, let's talk about the project of creating a 2-minute video. How many people, Crystal, how many people there, if they raise their hands, how many people there have a smartphone? Or what percentage of the people have smartphones? That's a better question. Does almost everybody have a smartphone there? And again, how many people here have a smartphone?
Oh my goodness, this thing is so long.
Okay, so we have about 1/3 of the people have smartphones here. We have 2 webcams, but that's not easy to go take a video.
The next question would be,
Outside.
how many people know how to make videos?
You have to have a long extension cord.
How to navigate their
One guy
stuff.
carrying the computer and the other guy carrying the camera. Okay.
Who knows how to effectively use the,
So what we learned yesterday was these little videos should be not more than 2 minutes. And maybe what we can do here is create a video and send it to you guys, and you can edit it. You can send us a video of there, and we can edit it. Okay? And then we want to blast it out. So when you go to your employment you're interviewing, you're talking about stuff, you can say, well, I participated in this project at school. Here's what we did. And we went from this to look at the number of views that we've had on that video.
Now,
And I can help you do that.
this is just a fun thing, class project. This is not about Thunderclap, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's the top secret project.
That's the
Okay.
top secret project.
So, moving on. Awkward. Okay.
That was
So, okay, so we will pick up tomorrow unless anybody has any last questions.
Good over here.
Okay, great. So the key takeaway is learn all of the apps, get familiar with them, be able to write them down on a piece of paper in 5 seconds or 10 seconds, be able to write down what the 8 apps are and have them broken down into those 2 groups. Okay? Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.